On this episode of Thurston County Connection, we focus on preparedness. Stay tuned to learn more about the notification systems that can help keep you safe. Our upcoming Emergency Expo and how Medic One is using technology to provide continuity of care. All of this and more on Thurston County Connection. This month's episode of Thurston County Connection is all about helping citizens get and stay prepared for an emergency or disaster. First, we are going to talk with Sonia from Emergency Management. She's going to tell us about the county's new notification system. Sonia, could you tell us about Thurston Community Alert?
Sure. Thurston Community Alert is the new alert and notification system that we co-purchased with the incorporated cities and the town of Bakota, and it gives our citizens more ways to receive alerts. They can receive alerts through telephone call, cell phone, text, email, social media. So if they're on social media accounts, they can get the same message that way.
And then you can do groups as well?
We can do
in geographical areas?
We can. We have opt-in groups set up so citizens can opt in to areas of the county that interest them. Some of the groups we have are for the rivers. So if you live along, say, the Skookumchuck River, you can opt into the Skookumchuck River group, and then we'll send information on the Skookumchuck if there's
And that could apply for a forest fire or for flooding or any type of a disaster, man-made or natural?
It could. We can go onto the Thurston County map and select an area and send messages strictly to that section of the county.
And so is that strictly on hardline, or can that ring a cell phone as well?
That's the importance of signing up for this system. If we have an emergency right now, we would push out the information to the E911 call database. So if you're at home and you still have a landline phone, you would get the message. And if you're not home, you might get the message when you get home and have it on your recorder. But if you sign up, then you get to choose how you want to receive the message. So you can choose to have it go to your cell phone, you can choose to have it go to email, or even text message.
So even if you were away on vacation, unknowing what's going on in your neighborhood, or there was a potential when you left, you could have it come right to your cell phone while you're in Hawaii on vacation.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us a little bit about how you communicate with mass media to the masses or get the information out to those that may have signed up?
Sure. We also have the EAS system, which is part of Thurston Community Alert, and that's the emergency alerting system. And that's where we can send a message over TV or radio broadcast. So you get the monthly test probably every month, the beep, beep, beep across your TV, and it will give you information on how to react to an actual emergency. And there's also wireless emergency alerts, which are the WIAs, and that's where we can send a message to cell phones within a geographic area, and it works by pinging off of cell towers. So if you're in that geographical area, you're going to get that message. And usually WIAs are presidential alerts or amber alerts or alerts of imminent danger.
And those alerts are distributed to everyone in a geographical area versus the sign-up process. And maybe you could get into how we would sign up so that we would get those notifications that are other than those type of alerts.
Absolutely. Would you like me to show you that now?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
You could go to our website, which is www.co.thurston.wa.us/em/alerts, and that will take you to this page. Okay. If you click the antenna A to register, it'll take you to the sign up page.
Okay.
And you just enter your information, create a username, and all the contact information you want.
So you can give as much information or a lesser amount of information if you choose to do so.
Right. The only thing that's required is an email address
Okay.
to register. And then you'll have a username and password, so anytime you want to either update your information or add or delete any information, you can go back in and update your own information.
Now, does this also accept information like for fire authorities that might be responding to an emergency or police authorities that might be coming to your location? Someone's in a wheelchair or special needs type of information?
Another piece of the system is Smart 911. And when people register for Thurston Community Alert, they can also register for Smart 911. And that's where they would input information such as they could put their medication that they're on or any medical issues they have. They can put pictures of their family and just any information they want responders to know. And
maybe a entrance code to get into a home?
Entrance code, floor plans, any information they want. And all of that information is secure. Nobody can see that information until a 911 call is placed to that number. So it's very secure information.
And how is it that we would prevent a false notification from going out? Because I know accidents do happen, and we hope that doesn't happen, but what do we have built in?
So one thing that this system has, it has what's called training mode. And we train anybody that's on the system to enter training mode first thing, unless they're sending an actual alert. So in training mode, they can go and set up alerts. They can even hit send, and it's not going to go anywhere. And every time you're in training mode, it says training mode, alerts cannot be sent. We could even do that template again, hit review and send, and again, it's grayed out, so I can't actually send it. But it's like going through the whole process without that last piece.
Okay, and that just prevents an accidental discharge, if you will, I guess.
No Hawaiian missile crisis here.
Okay, that's what we were hoping for. Thank you.
When a natural disaster happens, what can you do? The best thing you can do is be prepared. Visit the Emergency Preparedness Expo and learn how to be prepared for an emergency. Get information on how to keep yourself, family, and pets safe during the occurrence of a natural disaster. Emergency Preparedness Expo, Saturday, September 29th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Heritage Baptist Church on 1315 Sussex Avenue East in Tenino. Emergency Preparedness Expo, because the best thing you can do is be prepared.
Keith Flewelling is the Executive Director of Thurston 911. Keith has been working closely with Thurston County on the release of its subscription-based service called Smart 911. In fact, you can register for Smart 911 during the sign-up process for Thurston Community Alert. Keith, we heard about Smart 911 earlier. Could you give us a little update on your involvement and what that all entails?
Sure. So Smart 911 is an internet-based service that will allow individuals to create a safety profile. And when they create that safety profile, they can put information in there that will be helpful to first responders in an emergency. And if they call from a registered phone number, that safety profile will be available to 911 call takers.
And then things like access codes maybe, or if someone's in a wheelchair, is all that potentially information that becomes available to that first responder to enhance that response?
Exactly. So things like pets in the household, confined to wheelchair folks, vulnerable populations, allergies, children, pictures of children, those kind of things can all be uploaded to the safety profile.
Maybe even language issues, so they're prepared?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Smart 911 is available in a number of languages, and there's an easy drop-down box that allows the registering individual to select the language.
And could you get into how the person would sign up, possibly? Is that something that we're...
So earlier you discussed with Sonia from Emergency Management how to sign up through the Thurston County portal. There's also another way where an individual can go to smart911.com and register, and then that portal also allows them to register for the Thurston County notifications.
And there's security measures in place to protect this information. Right?
Absolutely. This is a highly secure internet site. The information is available only to those who need it. And so when you register on Smart 911 with your profile, you're putting in their telephone numbers that are associated with that registry. And when a call is made to 911 from any of those registered phone numbers, your profile is delivered to the 911 call takers for their information. That's when the information is looked at. That's when it can be shared if it's pertinent to the response. No one else has access to that profile except under those circumstances.
And that only becomes available when a person calls into the 911 center. Is that
That's
right?
correct. Now, once a year or so, Smart 911 will send an email to the registered party and ask them to update their profile. So that's the only other access that comes, the individual or when they call 911. That's when the information is shared.
So it sounds like it's really secure.
It is.
Okay. I hope you register for Smart 911. The safety profile you create could wind up saving you or your loved ones. For the next segment of our show, I'll be talking with Scott Brownwell, who will show us how Thurston County Medic One is communicating important medical information securely to ensure patients receive the best care possible. Scott, earlier we talked to Keith about the 911 process and all the information that through this system, you get information, the hospital gets information, and you take information that a citizen has provided to provide a better service. Could you kind of go into how that all works?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you first call 911, the call taker obviously takes all the information, and when they put it in, it comes to this screen here of the unit that's responding to the call. So what this allows us to do is see what's going on and tells us what we're going to, so we have a little bit of an expectation of what we're going to be walking into, as well as important information such as allergies or where a key might be so we can get in, things of that nature. Sure. It also populates to this device, which is our what we call an ePCR platform. So this is our patient care reporting. And what this allows us to do is document our visit with the patient. By gathering this information, it allows us to share it with other people, including the hospitals, so they can see what's been delivered to the patient prior to delivering them to the hospital, for example.
Okay. So it's almost, everything happens almost simultaneously and instantly.
The initial stuff, yeah. And then over the course of the call, this will get populated and more information goes out. And the idea being is that the people in the chain of care will be better informed by the time they receive the patient.
So as you're rolling on a call, you're being informed, for an example, that
Absolutely.
The patient might be hard of hearing.
Correct.
Or any other special needs that you can respond to so we don't have any delay of time.
Right, including potential hazards,
Sure.
things of that nature. So it's very informative for us in that regard. There's also radio, obviously, so we get informed via both directions. There's a lot of information that comes in during that initial en route time.
And as you as a first responder are responding to almost any incident, time is of the essence. It
Very
could
much.
mean your life or death.
Absolutely,
Right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Scott, security is a big issue in today's day and age of information sharing and how we protect that security that citizens might be concerned about. So I want to alleviate their concern about their information getting other places than where we want it to get to. Could you
Absolutely.
get into that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a very relevant concern. So for the dispatching component, we connect via an encrypted VPN back to TCOM, and so all that data is very secure and stored at TCOM securely. When it comes to the patient data, we follow all the HIPAA guidelines, but all data that we gather from the patient is stored in an encrypted fashion on the tablet until it's sent off to the hospital, and once it's sent off, it's removed from the tablet, and that entire chain from start to finish is encrypted all the way through. We don't want to risk that happening. at all. It's in case the device is lost or something like that. We want to make sure that that data is secure.
So not only do you care for the physical well-being of your patient that you're dealing with, you actually secure any information
Absolutely.
that is related to that individual as well.
Absolutely. Because by HIPAA standard, the only people that are allowed to see that information are those involved in that particular instance of care.
In that person's care.
Right.
And could you get into some of the challenges that you as a first responder are exposed to on a regular basis? Because, you know, your job has turned into really a pretty dangerous job if you think about it.
Yeah. So one of the biggest challenges we have regularly is communication. That seems to be our largest problem, is getting the information that's pertinent and timely. And that's what all this is about addressing, is trying to make sure that we get the information we need when we need it and in a manner that's timely and helpful. I think it's an evolving course, and I think it'll get better as time goes on, but it's always an improvement.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that update.
Absolutely.
Thanks for what you do every day.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kurt Harden, the Director of Thurston County Emergency Services. Emergency Services is comprised of Medic One and Emergency Management. Medic One is your pre-hospital emergency medical service. So when you dial 911 for a medical emergency, Medic One is part of the EMS process that sends EMTs or paramedics to your home. What we look at in Medic One is a tiered philosophy towards response. The first tier is citizen involvement. If you see something, if you see a medical emergency happening, we ask you to dial 911 immediately and then render aid. The second piece we like to look for from citizens is CPR training. We ask that you take some time, invest in your community, and spend an hour or two to take CPR hands-only training that could help save a life. The third tier that we have for Medic One is what we call our BLS, or Basic Life Support Service or Response. That's the EMTs that come out and help first. That's our first line of medical support. Our fourth line of medical support is paramedics. We have 7 paramedic units within the county, and they respond when there's a critical life-threatening situation that the EMTs cannot handle. So for Medic One, I'd like you to remember CPR training, and please contact the Medic One office to schedule a time for your free CPR training. The second part of emergency services is emergency management. We help citizens for disaster preparedness, response, and recovery. For disaster preparedness, we ask that you prepare a disaster kit so that you can survive without assistance for up to 2 weeks in the event a disaster occurs. If you need help with preparing a disaster kit, please go to our website, on the emergency management website under Thurston County, and we have a simple plan that helps you prepare a disaster kit over a 12-month time span. Thank you.
Next, Vivian Eason is going to tell us the steps we all can take to keep ourselves and our families safe. Now, Vivian, Sonia and I talked about the Thurston Community Alert process, and maybe you could brief us up on Thurston County's Emergency Preparedness Exposition that's going to take place in Tenino.
You bet. On September 29th at the Heritage Baptist Church, we're having our annual Emergency Preparedness Expo. It starts at 10 o'clock and it's over at 2. And we're going to set up a table there where people can sign up for the emergency alert system also. And so we'll have a lot of different vendors. We have the canines from the Sheriff's Department will be there. We have search and rescue. And then we'll have vendors inside where people can actually come in and buy emergency preparedness supplies or learn more about getting prepared. So.
Okay, and if they're a little hesitant about signing up on the computer, by coming down in person, you can help them sign up, is that right?
We can help them sign up if they're having issues. They do have to sign up because they have to get a username and a password.
Okay.
We used to be able to input that for them, but now there's a password involved in that.
Okay, that's for security purposes.
For security,
right?
To protect their information.
Okay,
correct.
Great. And I understand the event down in Tenino is going to be family friendly, so maybe you could give us a little brief on that.
It is. We always try to have a kids table for for activities for kids. And then of course, I mentioned before the canines will be there. They usually steal the show, and so people will want to meet them and get to know them personally. But we also will have activities for the kids. There's information for all levels of our community citizens for them to get educated. So there'll be some people there talking about different ways to store food and different foods that you can buy. There's emergency supplies. They can meet our search and rescue folks that they probably don't want to meet normally, but they can meet them in advance.
And what are the hours again?
The hours are 10 to 2, and we usually have a speaker, but this year we want to make it more interactive so that at each of the tables they can take the time to get to know that subject.
Okay.
So, and that'll give us more time and there'll be information if they're interested in finding out about floodplains. We take that opportunity also to educate them on disaster activities or the different disasters or threats that we have in our community.
Will you have anything there about insurance coverage, maybe for flood insurance, any of that type of activity?
We will have some handouts.
Okay.
Sometimes in the past we were able to get the insurance commissioner there. That is one of the themes this year for National Preparedness Month, and we'll be putting out information on ensuring that you are insured. As you know, we've been having a lot of more localized wildfires, and so making sure that you check your coverage and that your home is covered, that your vehicles are covered. You will have information on flood insurance, and there's a 30-day wait time for flood insurance. We'll have our new flood bulletin coming out right before the expo, so all that information will be there, and there'll be some booths there for people to talk about that.
Okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to Thurston County Connection on Thurston Community Media. Today we explored Thurston Community Alert and Smart 911, two notification systems that are helping keep citizens and first responders informed. Be sure to check out our Emergency Expo on September 29th to learn more about how you can prepare you and your family for a disaster or emergency. For more programming like this, visit the county's YouTube channel or tune in to Comcast Channel 3.